Hey everyone, I am going to make a quick video upon the DPS Gladiator Protection Warrior specialization, and I'm doing this because I don't see too many out there, and I don't know why, because it is amazing. At lower item levels, sure, it could be pressing and hard, but once you get to a higher item level with it, it's amazing, and it's really easy to gear because you're getting the same gear as the protection specialization. So yeah, I'm gonna just go ahead and start. First up, let's go over the glyphs or rather the talents for the gladiator specialization. For the first tier, I like to go for double time because it's just common sense. For Juggernaut, you have 12 seconds. You can only gain rage for every single 12 seconds in double time, but that's about the same thing. And Warbringer is only good for fights where you have to stun and add or keep one CC'd. For the next specialization, let's go for Enraged Regeneration because Impending Victory takes a global cooldown, and you don't want that to mess up your rotation. And it also does the exact same amount of healing, it's just on a shorter cooldown. And Second Wind is not viable for Gladiator in my opinion. And for the third, let's go over Heavy Repercussions. It's not viable because the Unyielding Strikes makes your Heroic Strike cost less and less up to 0 rage, which is amazing for DPS, and Heavy Repercussions doesn't give too much additional damage to Shield Slam. Sudden Death is not viable because I don't even have Execute on my bars. Now for the fourth tier, let's go over it. Stormbolt is only good for, same as Warbringer, only for fights that have an ad that need to be CC'd, and same with Shockwave, it's mainly for a bunch of ads that need to be CC'd, or for a fight like Cromrock where you just have to deal a lot of damage, and if you deal more than 4 targets, you will get a 20-second reduction, or 3 targets rather. And Dragon War is my pick for this one because it has the same cooldown as Bloodbath, so you can put them both together, and it always crits and ignores the armor. And now for the 5th tier, Master Spell Reflect is really good for fights that you need Master Spell Reflect. For example, Gorefiend with his little ads that he spawns that does a Shadow Bolt volley, or the Hellfire Assault where you have the Warlocks that do a Shadow Bolt volley. Safeguard is not viable because it takes up one of your global cooldowns and you have to charge to one of your allies, thus taking up time. Vigilance, you just click, and it doesn't take up one global cooldown, so you're all good. Now for the last one, Blade Storm is only good on fights that have a lot of people, such as Hellfire Assault or maybe Cromrock during the Grasping Hands, and Bloodbath is my choice for single target over Avatar because Avatar has a longer cooldown. If Avatar was a 1-minute cooldown, I would totally take it. And the next tier doesn't really matter because Gladiator's Resolve is the only viable choice. Next we have the glyphs. Now my personal choice for these major 3 are Bull Rush, which generates an additional 15 rage, Unending Rage, which increases your maximum rage by 20, and Glyph of Cleave, which makes your Heroic Strike hit 2 targets instead of 1. Those are my personal favorite, and I believe that these 2 should always be there forever, Bull Rush and Unending Rage, but Cleave you can take off if you're ever fighting just a 1-person fight, which I find very hard to find. Now, let's go for the replacements. One would be Resonating Power, which increases the damage and cooldown of Thunderclap, making it take less of a global cooldown by increasing its damage, so making it better in a sense. Rune Interruption is good for fights that you have to interrupt. Shield Slam is good if you need to dispel something off the boss. Shield Wall is good for any type of fight that has a certain amount of burst, like Gorefiend with his Feast, or Kilrog with, I don't know. But those are the main ones that I find viable, and yeah, that's just my personal opinion. And the minor glyphs are only for visuals. I have Gushing Wound, Burning Anger, and Blazing Trail. And next we have macros. Macros, you just type /macro, and then you could create your own little skills or whatnot. Now the first one that I would like to point out is the Shield Slam macro. /cast Shield Charge, /cast Shield Slam, and you use Shield Charge and Shield Slam at the same exact time. You could include Berserker Rage into this if you'd like, if you don't keep an eye out on the Enrage, because you always want to be enraged whenever you use Shield Charge. And next is the one-shot macro that I have created. slash cast Bloodbath slash cast Avatar slash cast Dragon Roar. Now Avatar I have here in case you ever wanted to try Avatar, so it'll be there in case you take off Bloodbath. And the Dragon Roar I have so that you can stack it with Bloodbath because it is amazing damage. Make sure your Bloodbath is first so that you pop that before Dragon Roar because you don't want Dragon Roar popping before your Bloodbath. And there's another one slash cast Bladestorm slash cancel Aura Bladestorm in case you need to stop your Bladestorm early. And that's the main ones that I use and I find them really helpful. Next will have to be stat priorities. First we have strength, which is your main stat in every specialization obviously, and then next is bonus armor. Bonus armor translates into extra attack power, not too much, but it does give you a very good amount. So you want to stack that whenever you see it. That's why I like Gladiator, because you can go ahead and keep your loot specialization on protection and you will still get really good gear. And then after that is haste to a 700 cap. Once you reach 700, then you can go ahead and start stacking crit. Crit is after haste, and then after crit would have to be mastery, and then multi-strike, and then leech, and etc. I also did want to point out one very special item that you guys should all get and level up to 6. It is the Warlord's Crafted Trinket Knight's Badge. It gives you an amazing amount of bonus armor. It's not too much to craft, and each time your attacks hit, you have a chance to gain 2400 critical strike, which is simply amazing. And lastly, let's go over the buffs. The main buff you want to use if you're by yourself is Battle Shout, obviously, because stamina doesn't increase your damage. And for flasks and etc., we have Stout Augment Rune, obviously, because you can only use strength out of those 4, and Draeneic Armor Potion over Draeneic Strength Potion, because the bonus armor actually outrules the strength that you get from the Strength Potion. And next we have Greater Draeneic Strength Flask, because Stamina Flask doesn't really help you as DPS. And lastly we have Savage Feast. If you can afford it or craft it, go ahead and grab yourself some pickled eels or some Black Rock Barbecue. Those are also really good. And that is the end of my Gladiator guide. If I helped you, go ahead and leave a like, comment. If I didn't, go ahead and leave a dislike. And have a great day, guys.